Misty, would you call the roll, please?
David Burris.
Here.
J.R. Huddleston.
Here.
Deborah Johnston. Bill Lukens.
Here.
Larry Pratt.
Here.
Craig Romey.
Present.
Linda Varvel.
Here.
Melanie Wilson.
Here.
Thank you.
Before we get to the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to mention that Deborah's not with us tonight, obviously. She had a boo-boo. That's put her up for a few days. So if you know Deborah or want to reach out to her and ask her how she's doing and wish her well wishes, I'm sure she would appreciate that.
Get better soon, Deborah. Get some good.
Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, Council, conflict of interest. If you have anything that you are concerned about voting on, please let the rest of the council know before you vote.
Mayor, I wasn't sure if I was just to vote on the bid board or however that works. That's okay.
Yeah, when we get to that one.
Okay, thank you.
We can discuss that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Motion to approve the minutes from the May 2nd.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for May 2nd council meeting.
Second.
Discussion?
A couple items. First, Officer Jack Peterson was one of the employees present. And also, it's my understanding that the total contract price on change order number 1 is actually $1,729,473.38.
So we request those two changes.
So I'd request those two changes to the minutes of the May 2nd council meeting.
Do you have those, Misty?
Yep.
All right. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Need a motion to approve the bills in between?
Make a motion to approve the bills in between of $199,214.17.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Motion for the current claims.
I make a motion to approve the current claims of $84,952.73.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. We have a 7:10 public hearing. We're about 7 minutes away from that. So let's go ahead and move into the communications from the public. Dwayne, you're up first. And
Dwayne Cruz, 2605 Dorn Road.
yeah. If we get to 7:10, we'll just ask you to pause, and if you're not done, we'll bring you right back up and have
I
you
hope
finish.
to make this quick, sir.
It's Bob.
Practice.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to make a presence and bring to you what's been going on with youth baseball. Over the last couple months, I've been developing a travel youth baseball team and seeking what we used to have as an American Legion team and a VFW teener team, and we have successfully created one. We have 13 players on the roster. We are currently traveling to 20-plus games to include tournaments. As aggressive as we are, what we'd like to do is call upon the city to help us with perhaps refurbishing and or providing a new batting cage. The batting cage, hopefully you've received the PowerPoint presentation. There's just a couple examples, a couple ideas that we were looking at, ranging from $20-some thousand on up to a couple $100,000. It just depends on the brevity of what we are willing to take on. We are committed to working as a team, executing more outreach, more volunteer, and more donors and advertising to help raise funds for this batting cage, but also to support the team. We are representing the American Legion, Post 71, as a baseball team, and we are also representing Post 3442 out of Custer as a baseball team. Because our age group falls in between American Legion, Junior Legion, and majors and minors for the city rec, we have a limbo team that has no home. So we've developed this travel team with the execution of sponsorship from both VFW and American Legion. And I can't express to you enough how excited we are as a team, as an organization, and how the parents are excited to help facilitate such an opportunity to make a baseball come back to life here in Hot Springs. With that, we need support. We need field renovation. We need baseball cages. We need batting cages. What I'm bringing to you is currently just the batting cages, because at this time, our team, we are volunteering parents, everyone we can find to help refurbish, to include coordinating and collaborating with other stakeholders. And that's it.
If I can add to what Dwayne presented there, and Dwayne, correct me if I'm wrong at any point, their proposal is they are going to begin, or maybe have already begun, a fundraising effort for this batting cage. What the city, what we have agreed to is to work out space within the park for them to utilize, pending approval of council. But that's kind of the basic thing. What they're asking for is support in that concept, in that way, on the batting cage.
Yes, sir.
Dwayne, you have, excuse me, there at one time we had 4x8 signs on the outfield fence that we had used years ago to aid us in a fundraiser with sponsorships by businesses and their logos in town. And we used volunteers and parents to paint the signs and get them up, and then we charge so much a year. Is that still happening?
Yes, sir. To a lighter respect of having someone else print instead of us painting. We have developed tertiary sponsorship levels that we have actually executed an outreach on, and currently we have 3 sponsor donors to sponsor 4x8 banner style type signs that we can mount up there that are wind resistant. They're windscreen style type banners, and as soon as I get them from the manufacturer, at our cost, by the way, the sponsorship includes the banners, then we'll post them up there on the fence line, and then at the end of the season, pending weather, we'll take it down and reuse them again next year. We have different packages from 1-year sponsorships to 3-year sponsorships.
And that's a good fundraiser.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, parents have painted those buildings in the past too. So parents and volunteers have done it for years. It's a great program.
Thank you. And we're looking forward to executing some elbow grease, definitely, and some hard work. With the signs, I kind of just want them to be a little more professional and durable. Sure. But when it comes to refurbishing the facility, you bet we're going to be coming to you more on other aspects of the field later. But this particular visit's about the batting cages. We got to get good, and I guarantee you guys will be proud of this team. We are a winning team to start. Our JV team, if you're looking at Hot Springs Middle School and their JV team and how they're facilitating with the high school program, you'll find that our program, these are the kids that have evolved from the minors, I would say, in the last 4 years here with the city recreation. So our city recreation program with baseball has developed these kids from 4 years ago to come up to an age now where we have a passion for it. And through that, much like our football league that we have, this baseball league is actually surprisingly, the attendance, the participation levels are back up to 3 different teams at every age group, which is quite daunting, to say the least. But parents are stepping up, parents are volunteering, kids are wanting to play. We just need better facilities to help execute that dream.
There we go.
All right.
How is
So
your
we're-
group, how is your group associated with that rec? Because right now we get volunteers and then we transfer what they would have earned in wages to a fund to help pay for baseball improvements.
Yes.
How is your group connected to that?
We're with the Hot Springs Baseball Association, so we are connected in terms of the T-ball minors and majors, and the coaches do volunteer their time. We donate our wages back to the city for the fund. It's strictly volunteer. We do not get paid as coaches. Our particular age group is just in a competitive area where there's no majors team because we're too old, but there's no junior legion because we're too young. So it's like we have to be a VFW teener team, and the VFW and American Legion both agreed to take care of our sponsorship and support us. So we have a VFW tournament coming up, and we also, hopefully we can make it to the American Legion. Some of our guys may play for Junior Legion if the current coach for American Legion, Junior Legion wants to absorb some of our kids because of their age. But with that, and the logistics of that can be ironed out later in the season. For now, I can guarantee you we have 13 players, ages 12, 13, and 14, and they're ready. They're ready to play ball.
All right. So we're at our 7:10 public hearing. I do have a question for you.
Yes,
So
sir.
I just ask that you take a seat, and we'll bring you back up after our 7:10 public hearing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would sit close.
He's younger than we are. 7:10 public hearing to act on the special sale alcoholic beverage license applications 7 from Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce for the Chamber Wine Walk and Putt events to be held on 5/27/2022 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the following locations: Minnetonka Coffee, LLC, 503 North River Street, CBH Co-op, 742 Jennings Avenue, Polished Salon and Spa, 401 North River Street, Changing the Seasons Floral, 323 South Chicago Street, Riverfront Gallery, 405 North River Street, Chicago Street Cafe, 138 South Chicago Street, and Chautauqua Craftsmen and Artisans of the Black Hills, 629 North River Street. Is there anybody here from the chamber or the businesses themselves that would like to address the council? Council, do you have any questions? These are pretty standard. You do these an awful lot.
Yeah, these are all pretty much the same facilities that done it before. Didn't have any problems, good outcome. So.
All right. Well, why don't we close the public hearing at 7:13? And then we need a motion to approve, deny, or table.
I make a motion to approve the special sale alcoholic beverage license applications 7 from Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce for the Chamber Wine Walk and Putt event to be held on 5/27/22 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the following locations: Minnetonka Coffee LLC, 503 North River Street, CBH Co-op, 742 Jennings Avenue, Polished Salon and Spa, 401 North River Street, Changing Seasons Floral, 323 South Chicago Street, Riverfront Gallery, 405 North River Street, Chicago Street Cafe, 138 South Chicago Street, and Chautauqua Craftsmen and Artisans of the Black Hills, 629 North River Street.
Second. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Dwayne? Come on down. Come on down.
Thank you.
Council, do you want to have questions for Dwayne?
Yes. On your last page of your information packet, you have ideas. Is there a batting cage setup that you guys are more interested in than others, or what is the feeling of, because I have like 3 questions. That would be one. The next one would be your repair list here. But the third would be automated, not automated, but revenue producing. Now, is that something you'd be using the machine, the batting cages also to produce income on off time for baseball, youth baseball, or
Yes, sir.
supplies?
Yes, sir. So let me, if you allow me, I can address the first question.
Okay.
Definitely, we would like a very nice batting cage. How it arrives to us, be it a 3-station, 8-station, 10-station wide type of batting machine versus automated and non-automated, we'd just be happy to have a nice batting cage. So we're okay with whatever we can get. What we would like would be the automated version. The automated version, which is more like a vending machine style type concept, which will allow revenue. And when I say that, we're trying to raise money still for the baseball program. If we have buy-in with the city, we can iron out the details on how much and percentage or whatever. But these machines are known. When it's known in the community that there is a place that you can go to all year and drop in a few quarters or $1 or swipe, your credit card to get some batting practice in, you're going to get the kids that want to do this and the parents that support that region-wide. There's nothing like this from Shadron that I know of all the way up to Hermosa. There just isn't. And when we have games down here and we host games, the word will get out with all the other coaches and teams that, hey, there's an opportunity to work on batting. There's an opportunity to go have fun. There's an opportunity to make our team practice before anything. And if it costs money, these teams will buy into it. They will. Where I came from before moving here, there was a system just like this, and it was ran by the city, and all we had to do is just go in there and, pay to play, right?
Drop a quarter.
Yeah, drop a quarter in there and you get 10 balls or whatever.
Dave, if I can interject real quick, we're going to detail on this right now, is this is just discussion right now about how that would work, and we have to obviously present to council an agreement by that measure. But the basic concept, yes, is like them running a snack bar. It's the same concept, except they're putting in the fundraising dollars to build it, and they can generate revenue from it to support the program, et cetera, et cetera. Details are down the road, and we'll have to get to.
Well, no, I understand that, but we weren't led one way or the other.
Right, yeah.
That's why I was asking.
Well, I have a personal bias, because as Dwayne and I talked, I built 2 of these, and both of them were just incredible revenue producers for the organization. So,
I would just like to know what your expectations are.
At this particular time, sir, our expectations is to get a thumbs up so we can get a go, so we can go from there to execute the groundwork, to raise money, work with the city, and find a location and start doing the legwork to make it happen. We don't see this happening now. We obviously...
Oh, no, it's going to take a while. But the reason I asked if you were going to use that is the space that you have now, is it adequate for whatever you're wanting, or do we need to enlarge that?
It needs to be enlarged for what we want. However, what we have now is adequate to facilitate the current situation we're in, where we need batting cages. Okay. Yes, sir.
Just fuel for thought.
Yes, sir.
So the current ones need repaired no matter what?
Correct. The current ones right now is just a space. There's no netting, there's no cage, we don't send people there.
and we're putting perfume on a pig to get up to speed for them for this year. But again, Dwayne's right. It's almost useless.
I didn't even know we had one.
Yeah. Well,
What's the location you'd want to put this at?
Butler Park.
Butler Park.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The current one, isn't it between the Legion Field and the first field north of that?
Correct. That's where the current one is, sir. It's the 3-lane batting cage. It's actually 2-lane batting cage with an open area for pitching. We're hoping to put 3 lanes in there. Where we would like it would probably come to once we determine how big of a system we want and how much space it's going to take. Right now there is a new Little League, lack of better words, small little practice field for the T-ballers that are right across from the library. That's a good spot also. But I do not have an exact location, sir, as I haven't had a chance to nail that down.
Will this work with softball as well?
Yes, I would definitely try to execute with softball, the organization who plays softball, and try to get them to help with the fundraising efforts as well. I do play softball as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dwayne. Excellent.
So, Dwayne?
Yes, sir.
My question, you've identified in here that where Butler Park next to the baseball field, that's been kicked around. And then the first images you have are of 3, what I'm going to call non-automated batting cages.
Non-automated.
Yes, sir.
This one?
Yes, sir.
So there's 3 of them there,
Correct.
but is it 20,000 per cage, or do we get 3 of them for 20,000?
This particular size is the entire system there. 3 cages, netting. You get all the parts except for the installation of it and the concrete required to put the posts in. I put that in there as an idea to give you a range. This is where we would be happy. Where we want to be is long-term. We want revenue producing. We want not just fundraising for us, but this could be something, a more strategic alignment with the bigger system.
Yeah.
But this one here gets us taken care of now. So this would be our 25-meter target. The 300-meter target is, the big one.
So again, 20,000 for 3 of them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've said you've looked at the space up there. Do you feel like you have enough space for 3 of these?
Yes, sir, we do.
That's
Where it
exciting.
is currently?
Where it
not
is
where it
currently.
is currently.
No,
It would be
he
moved.
just said where it is currently.
Oh,
You're talking about this unit here would not fit where the batting cages are currently.
we can fit 2 of them.
2 of them, yeah, right.
But not 3.
Exactly.
But you also have to be aware of the cart path, the walking path.
Yes, sir.
through there.
So we're okay with moving the location. At other facilities in different towns, they do have the batting cages closer in between more of the softball field and the baseball field. Just a little, it's a little ways to walk, but you know what? It doesn't have to be close to the baseball field. We just need a batting cage
Okay, sure.
at the appropriate location.
Have you taken this idea to Parks and Recreation yet?
Yes.
Parks and Recreation Committee? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'll have that in my report when I give it
Got that in
tonight.
your report?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
If we can, just go ahead and touch base on that aspect so I don't have to deal with it later on. But this is what we wanted at Parks and Rec, was to have a comprehensive plan to look at. So I'd appreciate you bringing that forward, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and I'm prepared to create more 5 Ws for you.
More what?
The 5 Ws. Who, what, where, when, why. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
That's how motivated we are, sir. We are in this to win it. And then when I leave, it'll be already established and someone else can take over.
You're not going anywhere.
Not right now, anyway.
It's a lifetime commitment.
Yes, sir.
You got family connections in Hot Springs.
I do, sir. I think I'm rooted.
All right.
I like the idea. I like it a
Thank you,
lot.
Dwayne.
Thank you.
Dwayne,
Go, Coach.
thanks for your
Thank
time.
Go,
Thank
Coach.
you. I gotta go,
Thanks,
coach.
Tammy, Mike?
Good evening, I'm Tammy Schrum, 514 America's Way, Box Elder, South Dakota, for both of us. I am currently the new balloon meister for the Fall River Hot Air Balloon Festival. Petra has stepped back, and I've taken that role over. Olivia sends her regrets. She is in North Dakota at a national tourism convention, so that's why she's not here this evening. So my husband Mike and I are bringing some ideas to you regarding the balloon event. So this year we are taking it a step up. Olivia has asked for it to be a little more encouraging for the public around Hot Springs to attend. So as of June 1st, there will be another press release going out. If you're unaware, there was a press release on May 4th that went out on Facebook announcing that we will be having the Darth Vader and the Yoda balloons, which are pictured here, here for the weekend. Those two balloons will be at all three events, Saturday morning and evening, and Sunday morning as well. They will be static only, they won't be flying, which will encourage the crowd to stay on the fields, come to the balloons, see how balloons work, how shapes work. And we've had over 39,000 hits on Facebook as of this evening. So I'm expecting about 20,000 people to attend. Hot Springs is going to be busy that weekend. And we also have the magazine, the 605, coming that weekend. Hot Springs has been awarded their annual magazine that they present once a year and in May. So they'll be here that whole weekend filming for next May's magazine to honor Hot Springs. So we'll be taking care of them. They are going to be getting balloon rides as well as doing other things in town. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike and give you a little more information.
Thank all of you for allowing us to come and give you some information this year about what it takes to attempt an endeavor like this. Most of, if not all of the committee that's involved, we're all volunteers. We're all part of the balloon industry. I've been in the balloon world for going on 24 years. The task of putting on one of these things is sometimes seems a little overwhelming. To do this, to try to get 30 pilots, not only from the state of South Dakota, but as far as California, we've had last year, and New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, several different states, and these pilots will travel here to come to put, if you want to call it, perform for for this event. An average person travels, an average person that goes on a day's venture from, say, Rapid City or even from Sioux Falls or anywhere, an average cost that they spend is about $144 for a day. And obviously right now that number's probably a little higher considering the cost of fuel. But to go and spend, and that includes, the fuel to get here, the transportation, if there's any entry costs, which there's not at this event, it's free to the public. And so if we had an estimated 5,000 people last year, it injected a pretty good amount of financial support to the local area for that event to be held. If we have what we think is going to at least double that attendance, is anybody that ever go to a professional golf or the PGA tournament someplace, there's a certain amount of people that's going to show up at that event. But if you throw in the advent of a Tiger Woods in there, that event is probably going to have quite a bit more participation from the public. And these two balloons that are on here, and I've got some pictures.
The screensaver went, we haven't been able to see it since the beginning. Did you guys get a good look at them? No, it went pretty fast. Yeah. And we got pictures. Oh, no, we did not. No, okay.
Yeah, the pictures were from Saturday's event, so.
Okay.
Or Sunday's event.
Oh my God, that Yoda balloon is.
So to put it in comparison, what those two balloons are in the balloon world, that's the Tiger Woods of ballooning right there. The gentleman that owns them lives in Belgium. He travels all over the world with them. They originally made the agreement with Lucas back in the day and had the balloons built, and now Disney owns the images to them. But they have a following like there is I've never seen it anywhere. Than one of the smaller pictures and the ones we're passing around there. There's well over 100,000 people, and those are the only 2 balloons on the field. So they have a group called the 501, and you'll see the other people that are in costume. And those people aren't from Disney. Those are just everyday people that are enthusiasts of Star Wars, and they spent the money to have the costumes, and they come here in support of these balloons on a lot of events. There's about 50 of them that show up at Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque every year. So the popularity of the balloons and the following it has, we believe that it's going to draw a lot of people to this event, and with that is as any city does, or anything that increases in size, you have growing pains, right? And it's good problems to have. But when Petra started this 7 years ago, it was very small, and it was done, if you what you want to call a shoestring budget. And as the thing has gone on year after year, and going after 30 balloons this year, there's a significant cost to put this on. And the typical way to raise the money for it is you go find sponsors, and you take out a baseball bat and you beat their wallet up best you can, and have them. And then in years past, we've sold paid rides in it. We'd like to get away from that part of it for the simple fact that the liability of if you sell 50 rides and you spread them out amongst the pilots that are here, that's just 50 more opportunities of liability. And risk versus reward, well, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But we'd like to get away from that, and we'd like to get around where the risk is low and where we can put on a great show and have people come to the Hot Springs area. And it's just not these 2 balloons that would be the entire draw. It's the whole big picture of 25 aircraft, 30 aircraft that are flying in the air. The folks at the airport, they do a phenomenal job supporting this and making that property out there available to us, which is a huge deal. And to have these additions of balloons like this, they definitely will show interest for years to come. And again, this event is growing. It's in its infancy. Back when I lived in New Mexico, and for 10 years, starting in 1999, I put on a 40 balloon event for 10 years straight. And it grows in interest, and it draws a lot. And the problem you run into is when you get to a certain point in it, people expect it to be there. And unfortunately, sometimes the financial part of it doesn't allow that to happen. And so what we're hoping is the city would partner with the Fall River Balloon Festival and hopefully keep this great event alive and moving forward. Thank you.
I have a comment or question. So the city does sponsor, you've approved claims for sponsorship to the the Fall River Hot Air Balloon Festival. Evans Plunge just a couple claim batches ago sponsored financially this, and I'm glad that you mentioned how much the airport does, because I can tell you as the finance officer, we've been there since the beginning 7 years ago, and we commit a lot of city time and resources to help partner with the success of this very successful endeavor. So is there an amount that you're asking for or something different than what we've already done specifically that you'd like council to consider?
So let me speak to what our dollar numbers really truly look like. So in the industry, on an average, when you have 30 balloons, you on an average want to assume that that's $1,000 per balloon at a minimum. That covers the expense of feeding the pilots and their crew, housing the pilots because you pay for their hotel rooms, as well as the propane for the event. And as we know, propane is gone up just like any other fuel this year. So at a minimum, you want to budget $1,000 per balloon, and that is on the low side. Most events do $2,000 per balloon. Last year, we got by with 28 balloons on a $24,000 budget. So what the city has given in the past, we're talking $500 to $1,000, I believe. So it's not covering the cost for that. So what I'm saying to you is that I'm looking at a $30,000 budget as a minimum this year. And quite frankly, these two balloons normally cost over $10,000 to bring to an event. Mike and I are running these balloons all summer and taking them to other events. Based on that, we have worked out a personal deal with the owner of the balloon, and it's not costing us that. Am I going to be able to work that deal every year? Absolutely not. We're in the shape business, so we have other shapes. I am not bringing my personal balloons. I just feel like it's conflict of interest. But next year, the crowd's going to, want bigger and better. Am I going to be able to do bigger and better? Maybe not. Are there other options? Absolutely. So if you want to use this as an example, Scottsbluff has a balloon event 2 weeks prior to ours. They have normally 25 balloons. The last couple of years, they've had nationals. Nationals doesn't do a whole lot for the event other than cost them money. The city of Scottsbluff provides $40,000 to their event. Most chamber-run events, which this is, in other towns, the town of Kanab, Utah, the city funds the entire event of 25 balloons. So is it normal that the city funds a great deal? Yes.
We fund our chamber a great deal.
But while you say that it funds the chamber is not funding this event. So all of the dollars that come in for the hot air balloon event are dollars that we go out and get sponsorship for. So it does not come out of the chamber's budget. It all comes out of money we've raised. We're at a $17,000 sponsorship that we've raised thus far this year, as of last week. So we're asking for the city to stand up a little bit more and give a significant more dollars amount.
How we paid our sponsorship checks to the chamber.
So when we go ask a business in town, they pay the chamber, yes. Yeah, okay. But what I'm saying is the city of Hot Springs to give more funding to the event. So what the city funds to the chamber, that does not go towards the fall, that doesn't go over to the hot air balloon budget. So my budget comes strictly out of sponsor dollars.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
How many balloons did we have last year?
28.
28? And you say how many people are to a crew?
So usually it's a pilot plus one. We budget for that. Anything more than that is at the pilot's discretion. But so at a minimum, that was 28 rooms. Then you have some supporting stuff that you have to bring in, as well as additional expenses and propane. And last year I did sell rides. A couple of reasons that rides are a bad choice. One, it increases the liability of the event. So as an event, we have to have event insurance, which is a little more than trip and fall. When you're into aviation, that changes the whole dynamic of insurance. So when you're putting the public in a basket that is part of our event and that falls under, while they have insurance and the event has insurance, you're still opening yourself up to some liabilities. So that's one piece to consider. The other piece to consider is that if I weather out both days, I still have all my expenses, but I no longer have ride money. We were fortunate last year that we were able to fly one day. It saved our budget significantly. We were more than $5,000 under budget, and at the end of the day, we were $600 in the red. So, the rides made up sufficiently. If we would have weathered out both days, that would have been detrimental to our budget. So, like Mike said, cost versus reward. A lot goes into selling rides, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it doesn't work out real well if we don't fly. As well as I don't have a lot of pilots that are real interested in flying paid rides. They come to put the show on, and then it changes the dynamic when you're being sold, essentially.
So as you both had mentioned, the event is certainly growing, and last year it was really exciting to see the balloons actually coming to town for the night glow. Logistically, is that a big thing
So,
to do that?
So one of the complaints about Hot Springs is that everything happened at the airport, right? And so those dollars were not coming into town. Those people were not coming into town. So last year, Petra was still the balloon meister. She asked me to come on board to help facilitate some additional ideas and to give her some support. So I did that. The idea of a glow around town came from multiple assets. Mike and I came up with that. It happens in other towns. The thought process behind it is to get all of these people into town, have them eating breakfast here after after the morning activities, so that they're staying all day, so they go to the evening glow. And then they're in town spending money here, and then they can just walk to the glow. So we did that in multiple locations last year. Some of them were wildly successful. We did one here. It was not successful, so this year we will not do one here. Petra glowed downtown last year, and it was amazing for her. It was amazing for the town because it was downtown. We did Butler Park. I had over 2,000 people at Butler Park with me last year. Dave Christensen, who's also in the audience, they did a glow at Mammoth, and that was successful. Where else? Oh, and we did the state vet's home. Mike took care of the one at the vet's home. We did that one more for the vets that are at the home. It was important to all of us to do that. We had the POW balloon there. That'll be back there this year. It's a little more time consuming on the planning piece. It makes me rely on a few other people to take care of things because I can't be at every site. However, it was extremely successful, and we will do it again this year based on that. So this year we will be at the vet's home, we will be at the Mammoth site, we will be back at Butler Park, and Darth and Yoda will be at Butler. And then if all goes well with construction, there'll be another glow downtown as well. The intention this year is, so I've hired a vendor out of Albuquerque who is not costing us anything, and we will get the event will get a portion of their proceeds. So they sell souvenirs and trinkets and balloon stuff. Because they're personal friends, they're doing something a little unusual for them. In the mornings, they'll set up out at the airport, and then for the glow, they will go ahead and move to Butler Park for me, so that we can have a vendor doing the same stuff there. And the benefit to them is it's great for the crowd to buy balloon trinkets, and it's good for us if they do well, then we share in that profit.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. I know as business owners, I know Olivia was asking $5,000 for sponsorship from each business, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. That doesn't go directly to
Absolutely. So when somebody comes to you, Olivia sent an email to the business owners. We have a couple other people that are working with business owners in town asking for donations and sponsorships. Because we're not a 501(c), it doesn't technically work as a donation, but it would benefit as an advertising dollar. So that money that is for a sponsorship comes directly to us.
Okay.
And that number currently stands at $17,000.
Okay, thank you.
So we're working hard to get that up.
When you do these, when you've gone to these other, or put them on, you have vendors there, correct? I mean, food vendors, so on and so on.
At some events, not all events have those.
Does any of them donate back to the Balloon Festival?
So currently, the way Olivia is working it is the vendors pay a fee, and I think she's at $250. Don't quote me on this, please, but I believe it's $250 per vendor. We were just, Olivia and I both just went to, it's called the Balloon Symposium, and what that is for is it's put on by the Balloon Federation of America, and it's for organizers and balloon meisters that run events. It teaches us how to be better, do things better, it's a nationwide program. There was people there from all over. Olivia and I both attended that event. There was numerous vendors there. What we got back from the vendors is when you ask them for a percentage, two things happen. This happens in Colorado Springs at their event. They have 75 balloons at that event. One of my best friends and my mentor runs that event. The vendors aren't always honest about what they made, and there's no way to prove that, right? Some events have sold food tickets so that you have some sort of control. There was a vendor there that has participated in all of those things. The food tickets doesn't go over well with the vendors, so the vendors don't want to come. If you share a percentage, like a food truck, say, you don't know what they have or haven't brought in, so you're kind of going off the handshake system. It doesn't work well, and based on that, and the vendors don't like it, it's better to just charge an appearance, here, charge us a fee.
A flat fee.
Right, and so Olivia's doing that. Not all of that money comes to my budget because she's doing it in the park, and there's those jumpy houses and all the kids' stuff in the park. So part of that goes for that. So I can't count on all that to come to my budget.
Okay.
All right.
We are selling T-shirts, and the guy in town that makes T-shirts does give us a percentage of that as well. And last year, the Mammoth site sold coffee and donuts and stuff at the airport, and they shared with us. We're working on some vendors that are a little bigger out there this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you.
Here's your pictures.
Any other communications from the public?
Robert Paul, 1327 Schofield Street. I have a couple things I'd like to approach the council with, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. First item is I would like to extend my deepest kudos to your staff down at City Hall. I think you've got a great group down there. I have had some dealings over the last couple of weeks with the ladies, and they have been professional beyond belief, and in the 20 years I have been here, I have never been disappointed by the lack of care or help down at City Hall. I'd just like to congratulate them. I'd like to pass that along to all you folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert.
Second item of business that I've got is the property that I own in town. A portion of that is bisected by the road that goes up Battle Mountain. This road has come about partly due to an easement that was granted to the city quite some time ago for the construction, improvement, and maintenance of that road going up that is within the city limits. We're all aware that a couple years ago that road was radically improved by Game Fish and Parks to the extent that there is much more traffic that is going up, and there is beginning to become problems with trash being dumped along there. The reason for my addressing you tonight is sometime within the last week to week and a half, I have been fortunate enough to inherit a set of tires that somebody wanted to dump off that happened to coincide with a gate entering into my property from that road. The purpose of visiting with you tonight is I am kind of hoping, and I realize with the dump days coming on, the dump does not really accept tires. I'm not looking for any action tonight. I'd like to have you folks consider it. I don't want an answer of any kind, but I would kind of like to have a little bit of leeway to maybe include those tires into anything that I bring for the dump days. Basically because they're not mine, I've kind of inherited them. This is on property that the city actually has an easement to, and ultimately because the easement agreement had been written in that the city is responsible for maintaining this road, which they have not been doing, that you might be able to grant me a little bit of leeway that way. And I realize that you'll need to talk it over, and that's fine. I would just as soon not have an immediate answer to that tonight. The only other thing that I will mention is, and I can provide a copy of this easement agreement to your city attorney should you wish to have it. One of the clauses that is in this agreement is that if the city no longer desires to maintain, improve, or keep this road in condition for public transportation, that property will revert back to the present landowner. Keep that in mind. Thank you.
So when you're talking about maintenance on the road, Bob, it has been discussed for a number of months at Public Works. The millings have been given to the city by the state. It's a matter of getting it worked into the street department schedule to get some of the road repairs done there.
That would be wonderful if that would happen. That would really hold that. I have seen the contract for the improvements, and I'd really like to keep this much briefer than the direction that this is headed into now. Some of the conditions under the contract with Game, Fish, and Parks, I think there's a matter of opinion on whether or not those specs were met. I've seen the specs, I've seen what was done up there. I have some extreme doubts as to the longevity of how long that road will last with the present gravel work and so forth. So the millings would really be a godsend up there as far as long-term care. In the 20 years that I have been here, I have yet to see a city vehicle do any grading, any gravel work, any work whatsoever on that road. That's not really fitting into my idea of what maintenance would consist of. That becomes a legal interpretation. I really don't want to pursue it into this tonight. So anyway, that is the extent of what I am asking. You know, I got 4 tires. I don't want them. I don't know who gave them to me. I just assume they come back and pick them up, but I'd like to see them gone.
I think you should re-gift.
Check the tread already. Check the tread.
Where would you like me to re-gift them to? Chautauqua Park? Butler Park?
That was just a joke.
Okay, I understand. So was my answer.
But to your statement on, we've had you for the last probably 5 months on our schedule. We got the millings. It was just a matter when it got set up, it was middle of winter, so obviously it wasn't going to happen there.
It's got to be warm out before we can put them down.
Yeah, we would like it to be warm because they want to work them in. So
Where are the millings going to start and where are they going to end?
I would have to talk to Billy. I try not to use names, but
In years past, from the start of that road from Thompson Drive up to just past the driveway where the Greisers live. And this is going back into the days when Gene Weiser was street foreman. Millings were put down at that time for that extent. And they held up pretty well, I mean, surprisingly.
And we'll be doing it the same way because Billy has a whole plan of, he knows how to lay them out there. He did say that they've done it before, so.
Okay, that's why I wonder, how far are you going to go? Because.
Well, those are all questions that when we get right down to it, we will figure it out right then.
Okay, all right.
And if you would like, Bob, we could let you know. So, make sure that you're there or whatever.
That would be fine, or if you discuss it at the next Public Works, I'll try to make arrangements to attend that.
We can. I'm waiting for a grandchild to arrive, but I would like to be there for that. But if it comes up while I'm gone, that is fine. Craig will be taking care of the.
May 31st at 1 o'clock. It's our next meeting.
May not be able to make that because I've got a prior engagement in Rapid. But
we can still pass along the information.
Sure, okay. I'd like to have you consider what I would like to have happen with what I have got. I'm kind of afraid at this point. In the past, it's been minor irritations with trash, and I've been able to pick up and deal with that. The tires are a little harder for me because I've got nowhere to take them other than unless I want to drive over to Edgemont and pay them to take them off my hands. But what I'm afraid is going to happen is we're going to have, because we've got more increased traffic going up there, people see this, and I'll tell you what, when you see a car going up there at 9:30 at night, you got to kind of wonder as to what the purpose of the visit going up to the top of the mountain is. There's no
Especially
lights.
with a refrigerator or something like that.
It's been done.
Yep.
Bob, is it my, and I'm almost bring it up here while we're at council. Am I just seeing things, or is there a bus parked up there also? A yellow bus? Have you seen it?
There is. I'll tell you the extent of what I think, because I don't know for sure. My immediate neighbor to the east is Paul Napoltz, and Paul owned several parcels of that, two of which I believe he has sold, and I think where you're seeing that bus is a parcel that he may have sold off this past fall. And I see in the realty transfers here lately that I think he was able to sell the other parcel that he had there that is immediately adjacent to me. But I've seen that bus up there too, and it's as you go up the road towards the mountain, you kind of wind your way up, and there's a turnoff area to the right-hand side of the road that kind of levels out into a site. And then a little further up the road, there's also another spot. Yeah. That 15, 20 years ago was kind of a party spot for the younger folks in town.
I think it still is.
Not to the extent that it had been. But yeah, there had been a lot of trash. There had been a lot of trash and stuff over the years. But that's really kind of gone by the wayside. But I'm just kind of afraid in seeing a lot of illegal dumping starting again because of the improved condition of the road and the amount of traffic and so forth.
And that's where I was going with that, because we're getting a lot of traffic going up that street. People speeding once again through there, up and down, not stopping at the stop sign. So I hear what you're saying.
My next course of action outside of you folks is to approach the project manager with Game Fish and Parks. And visiting with him when they first did the improvement on that, it was kind of sounding as though the county had strong-armed them into taking over maintenance. Whether or not that extended down as far as where my property is, because the extent of my knowledge is just with this easement agreement that had been done between the owners at that time and the city of Hot Springs.
Okay. Does your property stop at that first sharp corner as far as the road?
As you go up the road, the Greisers have their house and shop and garden and so forth along the right-hand side of the road. Shortly beyond their driveway as you go up is where that road intersects my property. Then it kind of goes off, then it comes back. And there's kind of a straight shot that goes, and then there's a real sharp dogleg to the right. My property runs along that long stretch to just before you get to that dogleg to the right. It's probably a stretch of, 300, 400 feet.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we've got a couple things here we need to look into for you, and how can we help with the tires if we're able to?
If you can help with the tires, I would appreciate it. Like I said, I would just as soon not have an answer on that tonight. I'll contact Dave or Craig or you, and we'll see what transpires.
We'll talk about
I don't want to see any type of a precedence get started where people are starting to dump off their tires down at City Shop.
I appreciate you recognizing that no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah.
And as soon as council tries to do, a good thing, then there's a whole line of people who say, well, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look into that. And then through Public Works, we'll get you involved, as far as the repair of the road, and just, get your thoughts, what you've seen before, what the, the limits of the repair have been.
As you're looking into it, as you're looking into it from that aspect, I don't know whether it is possible. I don't know whether or not the city has got anything that that could be posted as, Game Fish and Parks was just outstanding and the amount of signage and so forth that they put along that stretch as far as this is an easement roadway, this is private property, this is not public access in any way. I don't know whether the city has any access to signs that discourage people from illegal dumping. I know how strapped Chief Winscott is with the police department as far as an occasional patrol up the road a little ways, whether or not that is any type of a possibility. But anything the city can do to work with me on discouraging any more illegal dumping along that stretch, either for the Greisers or for myself, or even for the new tenants that might be a little further up to the east. Beyond the Greisers currently, there are no homes. So that's all empty space going on up to the mountain. So it's inviting in a lot of ways.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Anyone else from the public? Tammy? If you could keep it as brief as possible, I'd appreciate it.
I will. So just so that I'm clear on what I'm asking for, while I would love the ability for you to give us more money this year, I understand that that's not necessarily possible based on a budget in the fiscal year. I understand all of that. However, I would really like you to consider respectfully funding a significant amount, and I'm honestly asking for about $30,000 for next year. Why? It funds the event. I'm at $17,000 this year. The Hot Springs is going to be in the 605 in May of next year. The public is going to expect a big show in August at the event, and I'm willing to bring that. I just can't bring it without any dollars. And my intent is we're working on the governor to be here this year, as well as media. So I hope that all the TV channels are present as well.
Tammy, if you could, and Misty's going to love me for this, if you could contact Misty for the proper paperwork.
Yeah, she's asking you, you can put it in writing if you'd like, but we stopped a formal process
We did?
to create a piece of paper to have people ask us for money. So she's requesting it from you. I'd say right now, and if you want something in writing, it's appropriate to ask, but I don't have a standard form.
I'm going on old.
Yep.
I'm old. I'm going on old thoughts.
And I would be glad to give you as much information as I possibly can.
You've given us a lot of
Okay,
information, so
perfect.
I've been corrected.
We'll put it in the budget notes to be discussed to make sure that we don't forget to talk about it.
It's already there.
And-
I just put it there.
Thank you.
So, got it.
All
Thanks.
right, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Jerry's going the opposite direction. All right. We'll move on to personnel actions. Can I get a motion to approve personnel actions A through H?
Make a motion to approve personnel actions A through H.
Second.
Whoa.
10 seconds.
Second. Thank you.
I think it was all 7.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I abstain.
So the motion still passes. All right. On to resolution. Resolution 2022-13, a resolution to amend the citywide fee resolution.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-13, a resolution to amend the citywide fee resolution to increase airport fuel price per gallon to $5.75 per gallon and add an after-hour fee for the courtesy car rental to $50 and establish a Southern Hills Golf Course Pro Shop room rental fee rate at $50 per room.
Second.
Only, and $75 for the room and the kitchen.
Second.
Discussion. Just to note, the Southern Hills Golf Course room rent with kitchen, $75, that's also per day.
Excuse me, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. On to new business, item A, a possible motion discussion to approve change order number 2.
Make a motion to approve change order number 2 with complete construction, project number 2021-001, PCN X05P, water main and sanitary sewer improvements. Change order increases the contract price by $45,981.53 to a new total contract price of $1,775,454.91.
Second the motion.
Discussion.
Is this the water and sewer that goes up by the post office that they're working on now?
No, this is down on the south end of the project, and it's the original sewer main. So for the folks that will be watching on YouTube, I just want to read the change order number 2 summary from Tracy Bastian. Change order number 2 for the utilities replacements associated with the overall highway project is for an added area on the truck bypass. This length of the original sewer main was constructed of clay tile pipe, which was determined by the original plans had been determined after the original plans had been developed. The objective of the project is to replace all older type pipes throughout the highway project. This added project came in under estimates by both City Engineering Office and the South Dakota Department of Transportation. So for your consideration, Council, the city can only work with the plans that they have available to them when they're estimating these projects. And as this project, as we get into it, if they find out that what they expected to be under the ground is not under the ground and it needs to be replaced, I think it's prudent on us to replace those before we put a brand-new highway over the top of it and it fails 6 months later.
Yes.
So just cautioning you to be prepared for these kinds of things going forward. We don't know for sure until the water line and the sewer lines actually get exposed, if they're what our current plans show they are. This one in particular, Craig, was just for the sewer main. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item B, a possible motion discussion to approve a contract with ISG.
Make a motion to approve the contract with ISG Incorporated to develop the City Wayfinding signage program to provide professional consultation services in the amount of $28,500. Funding will come from 212 allocated budget authority for the expenses related to the postponed road reconstruction project around the school project number CA021A PCN 08DT.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes. I hate using that money for the road project around and all that around the school, because a lot of times when this gets done, the project never gets done because we used the money. I just hate using that money because it's already earmarked for something else. Just because we're not going to do it this year, we can carry it over to the following year.
Yes. So the two things you have in front of you is approving the contract. We discussed at the last council meeting, this was something that we wanted to do. We wanted to partner with these folks to get this taken care of. And then how we would potentially fund it. And it was offered that money could come from the project around the school that's getting postponed. If you vote for it and you still don't feel that's the right place to fund it from, that's certainly a vote that would be in front of you at the time. Recognizing that if you approve it, then you're going to have to figure out where to get the money from. In anticipation of your vote, because at the last council meeting, everyone indicated you wanted to go this way, I went ahead and sent as much of the previous work that had been done in 2016 with former administrators to ISG. Just, let them begin looking at it. And if you approve it, I'll give them a call tomorrow and let them know that the contract's been approved and we can get started on it. So the vote in front of you at this point is to fund the ISG with $28,500 from the 212 allocated budget authority for the road reconstruction around the school.
Or just before we have a windfall and get the money from somewhere else.
So
the money will come out of 212 regardless of whether it comes out of the road reconstruction project or whether it 212 is the source, is that right, Misty?
It can be. It doesn't, I mean, you have other choices in your general fund. You have parks, you have signs budget in streets maintenance.
But we don't have to vote on that right now. We just.
Well, you should address how you're going to pay for the added expense.
I agree with you there, but you're telling us we have more than one option.
You can only spend it once, but you have money in other places other than the 212 fund. Hopefully you've read the ordinance that establishes the 212 fund and says what those funds are supposed to be used for. And streets maintenance and repair, which you could say signs are part of, is one of the items identified. But it also says any other expense deemed necessary by city council. So.
But at this point, we're basically passing this to get it moving.
Well, I would offer that if you approve the motion that's in front of you, you are agreeing to pay the $28,500 from the expenses related to the postponed road reconstruction project around the school. So the option that would be available to you, correct me where I'm wrong, Misty, if you're uncomfortable with that, is to vote no on this motion and then make a new motion to approve the contract with ISG and figure out the funding going forward.
And essentially, Bill was right. If you leave it in this fund, it's going to come from those same dollars.
Yeah.
So if that's the way you're going to lean, you might as well approve it tonight.
Yep. I'm comfortable with what's in front of us. It's the same pot.
So to address Craig's concern, is the council saying that you want to approve this contract, but you want to find a different funding source than the road project around the school?
I do. I agree we should do this for the signage, but I don't agree using that money. And to that way, I will vote no.
So what I'm offering is a verbal commitment from each of you to the other that you want this project, but you will find a funding source other than road reconstruction.
How long has
I'm not saying that.
how long has the school project been put off?
It's supposed to be this year.
It actually can go through next year. We're still, I don't think we've gotten an official answer back from the last meeting when Tracy told you he was going to discuss that. But we had till April 2023.
In cost, so.
Yeah, so you have to find more money for the project to get it done probably next year too.
If we don't get an extension, the project will expire end of March, I believe. All right, any other questions? Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Bill Lukens,
Yes.
Larry Pratt,
No.
Craig Romey,
No.
Linda Varvel,
No.
Melanie Wilson,
Yes.
David Burris,
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston,
Yes.
Deborah, nope, she ain't here.
Not here.
1, 2, 3, 4 yeses and 3 noes.
All right, the motion passes. New business item C, a possible motion discussion to authorize the mayor to sign a marketing agreement.
A possible motion to discussion to authorize the mayor to sign a marketing agreement with utility service partners, private label, entering into an agreement to authorize the company to provide utility insurance coverage to homeowners under the City of Hot Springs branding.
Second.
Discussion. I gave each of you a copy of an email that Garland had responded to. In reading through the marketing agreement, I had some questions on the language in it. As far as the agreement itself, I think it provides property owners an opportunity to have an insurance policy that covers repairs to sewer and water that happen on their properties. Before, the council has had a number of requests put in front of them to reimburse folks that have had sewer damage. Some have been approved, some have not been approved. In this particular situation, those types of repair costs would be covered by this particular type of insurance. So I think the program itself can certainly be beneficial to property owners if they want to enter into it. The question that I put to Garland came about because of under city obligations 2B. Says up front, if the city elects to do so, we're not required to, city may provide company with property owner data. They define property owner data as any name, service address, postal address, and any other appropriate or necessary data for property owners in the city. My concern here is when we ask a water user or a sewer user to provide us with their information so that we can provide a service to them, they're giving us not uniquely personally identifiable information, but they are giving us information about themselves that they entrust will use responsibly, and we won't just provide it willy-nilly to someone else who's asking for it. And that's my concern in that particular language, is that if it was decided that the city would provide this kind of any level of data, how much would that be? And in the second paragraph, Garland says they're requesting names, property addresses, and mailing addresses. Consequently, we have to look at our public record statutes, which I believe would allow the city to provide property addresses, but no names or mailing addresses. So that's what I would be asking, is that if the city does in fact elect to provide information under this agreement, that what they would provide would be property addresses as recommended by our attorney.
So basically, we get a flyer or something in the mail that says property owner, not Mr. or Mrs. anybody, right?
From the property owner, they should be able to identify what the property is. For me, I see this as a quick way for them to send out form letters to let everybody know that they are offering this service and that the council is approving these folks to provide a service in town. Jeff, I believe you have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I will share from two perspectives. One, personally, I purchased this before, same company, same policy. It was a logical decision, took me a while. Secondly, because it was, I use this word loosely, I'm not sure it's correct, endorsed by the city. Not think it was endorsed, but it was, they used our branding anyway. It gave it a little more legitimacy and made me understand as a homeowner that it was legitimate, it wasn't a scam. So those two things, I never had any complaints with this provider, and where I was before, I know the city never had any issues with the provider as well. So those two comments are kind of my view of the world.
Misty, we had some discussions. You reached out to some of your networking.
Right. I have a listserv group of finance officers across the state and asked if anybody had heard about this company, and got good feedback from both Rapid City and Spearfish, who utilize this company.
Did you find out with any of them, did they provide names and addresses or just
They both
addresses?
provide different lists, so the different pieces of information, and also both have different steps to notify citizens that this is a company that is going to send out this offer and that it's not a scam. So Rapid City used their communications director and uses them every year before the mailings come out. And sometimes it sounded like in Spearfish, the mailings come out even more than just annually. So each of them had a little different setup, but both of them had good things to say. And it sounded like the citizens that did enroll were primarily very positive about experiences they had when they had claims. So that's what I heard.
Thank you.
And it is endorsed by the National League of Cities, the company.
Again, for me, I think it's a good service. Was not intending to say it's a scam or anything, but I'm just concerned about how much information the city freely coughs up to give to these folks. And then the second one, not anywhere near, is concerning for me. But the under city obligations, A, city hereby grants to company a non-exclusive license to use city's branding marks on marketing materials in accordance with Exhibit A to be sent to property owners from time to time and to be used in advertising. So again, they're looking to have the city's endorsement for this particular marketing agreement. I'm not advocating for not signing it or approving it, just concerned about mostly how much information we would share with them.
Well, if we're only sharing an address and no names, I'm good with that.
And let me add, Bob, I'm not sure, and I use the word loosely as well, I don't believe it's a city endorsement legally, and Garland's not here, but I believe it's more of a partnership with them. So I don't believe it incurs, my understanding is, doesn't incur any legal or financial obligation to the
Basically, it's stating to the citizens that it is a legitimate company, and we're with the understanding that it's to provide a service that they may not have.
Right. It's definitely not a partnership because we're not in partner with the company.
I'm not sure what the terminology would be, Jay. I'm sure there's a legal term for that. I don't know what but I don't think it's endorsement is my point. I really don't think we're endorsing it, but I could be wrong about that. That's my understanding.
If they use the city branding, is a lot of people going to think that it's through the city?
That's why Rapid City sends out their notices. And it is, you're essentially endorsing, might not be the right word, but you're essentially endorsing it by allowing them to use our marks. It does say in the city obligations that companies' use of the marks in accordance with this agreement will not infringe any other party's rights, which to me sounds like what we're talking about.
Can we pass this information on to the citizens through their water bill?
If they read it. I never.
That's how it was
An
done.
opportunity.
That's how it was done in Oklahoma. It was
Jeff
included
could
in
put
their
it
water
out
bill.
also with your newspaper information that you would write up.
And we can put it on the city website.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item D, a possible motion discussion to approve a lease agreement.
Make a motion to approve a lease agreement with Southern Hills Aviation for the use of 1,400 square feet of space in the city-owned heated hangar for commercial repair operations, revised from March 2022 approved agreement.
Second. Is that Linda? Thank you.
So why are we going over this again?
The square footage changed.
They came back and needed less square footage. That's all it is. We're not changing the square footage price. We're just changing how much space they're using.
It was 1992 and it's 1,400 now.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item E, a possible motion discussion to approve a special sale alcoholic beverage license application.
Make a motion to approve a special sale alcoholic beverage license application from Hsnp Loft Properties LLC for the Trampas Haskovitz Memorial Foundation event to be held on June 4th, 22 at the Mueller Center, 801 South 6th.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item F, possible motion discussion to reappoint Jane Farrell and John Gregory.
I make a motion to,
Go ahead, buddy.
oh, thank you, sir. I make a motion to reappoint Jane Farrell and John Gregory to the library board for 3-year terms, 2022 to 2025.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item G, possible motion discussion to appoint Cody Bush.
I make a motion to appoint Cody Bush to the Business Improvement District Board for a 3-year term, 2022 through 2025.
Second.
Discussion. I have an item, I was just copying the one from above, and the term for the library board is June to June. The term for the bid board is January to December. So the term for Cody, his 3-year term would be 2022 to 2024. I was copying the one above because I was counting out June to June. And that 3-year term does go to 25, but because this one's annually, 22 to 23, 23 to 24, it's through the whole year. So 22 is the first, 23 is the second, and 24 is the third. So that term is 2022 to 2024.
Clear as mud.
Yeah. So I need to redo that and amend that?
Nope, as long as you all agree to it, we can vote on it.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I agree.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item H, a possible motion discussion to appoint Melanie Wilson to the Business Improvement District.
Make a motion to appoint Melanie Wilson to the Business Improvement District Board to replace resigned member Vicki Haig for her 3-year term, 2021 through 2023.
Second.
Discussion.
It was asked if you have a conflict.
Why do we know that?
Definition of a conflict includes a direct pecuniary interest. You're welcome to vote if you'd like, I believe, but the other way that it can be a conflict is if 2/3 of the council agree you shouldn't vote. So if you'd like to abstain, that's probably okay too. Mayor, would you?
And if you yourself feel like there's some perceived conflict or whatever, then you can abstain.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and abstain, I guess.
Okay.
It's easiest that way.
It's easiest to,
That's what I would do.
yeah.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yay.
It's unanimous.
This is where you'd say, I abstain, after he says opposed, then nobody opposes.
I
then you'd say,
abstain. Okay, you can always say that, okay.
So the motion passes. New business item I, a possible motion discussion to approve travel training request from Police Department Captain Shively.
I make a motion to discuss to approve travel training request from Police Department Captain Phil Shively to attend advanced search and seizure training in Rapid City on 5/9/22.
Second.
Discussion.
I'll just go ahead and make the statement since this event has already occurred. I believe Captain Shively took advantage of this training because he became unexpectedly available for training due to an unfortunate incident that made him unavailable for patrol duties.
Okay.
Is that vague enough?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Aye on aye.
New business item J, possible motion discussion to approve a travel training request from PD Captain Shively.
I make a motion to approve travel training request from PD Captain Phil Shively to attend the Defensive Edge AR-15, M16, M4, AR-308 Armor Course in Spearfish, South Dakota, 5/17/22 to 5/19/22.
Second.
Hoo-ah.
That's a fun course.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. On the committee reports, Administrative and Finance, GR, Melanie?
Next meeting's May 6th, 1 PM, Mueller Civic Center. All are welcome.
June 6th?
June 6th, yeah.
What'd they say?
May.
Said me.
Yep, June 6th,
What time?
1 PM.
1 PM.
Thank you. Airport Advisory, Bill?
Airport Advisory met on Thursday, May 5th, 2022, 8:30 a.m. at the airport. Present were Shane Miller, Don Connor, and Petra Wilson. Employees present were Rick Breitenbach and Jeff Temple. Elected officials present were myself, and guests present were Mark Boxbaum and Joyce Boxbaum. There were no communications from the public, and under old business, there was an update on the June 4th Family Fun Day. There should be a lot of activities, South Dakota Air National Guard, Civil Air Patrol, the Young Eagles. Should be balloon launches between 5:30 and 6. We expect to have the gliders, some paragliders, paper airplane contest, ping pong ball drop, and that's about it. No flower drops this year. T-hanger update, drawings from High Country, erectors are being reviewed by KLJ. We're a little behind, but still looking at an end of September completion date. And you just approved the revised lease for the commercial tenant in the city hangar. Under our maintenance and operations update, our April fuel sales, we sold 375 gallons of aviation fuel. The reason we increased the price is right now the wholesale fuel price is at or above what our retail price was. So fuel price is really going up. April flight operations, we had approximately 35 fixed wing operations and 10 balloon flights. We're due for a new FAA airport directory picture, and we're going to coordinate to have that taken after the T-hangars are completed, probably in October. The airport manager is working with KLJ on short and long-term airport improvement plans. He'll continue to work and investigate what we want to do on that. We reviewed the hangar construction guidelines. We've got an individual that wants to put in a portable 46 by 43 foot T-hanger. The Airport Advisory Committee recommends that we require that individual to put in a 46 by 46 pad, which exceeds the minimum pad requirement of our construction guidelines, but by putting in a square pad, once they move off, that would leave that footprint for a new tenant. We talked about an upcoming excess property auction. We've got the old Texaco sign. And we talked about considering adding the old hangar to the excess property auction, primarily the wooden trusses that are in that facility. We talked about the hangar lease issues. I think we've talked about having a non-refundable deposit for the T-hangars rental agreement. Looking at probably a 1 month, we're suggesting probably $200 a month for those T-hangars, and requiring the individual to have an aircraft or have one under contract before we would lease them a hangar. We're continuing to evaluate what it would take to provide oxygen services for those planes that operate above 10,000 feet. We're also looking at changing the lighting in the city hangar from fluorescent to LEDs, since we now have a daily occupant. And we reviewed the Airport Advisory Committee charter with the committee, and we'd like to nominate Mark Boxbaum for membership. And Rick, the airport manager, will also be contacting Marty Larson for a glider representative, and we'll be checking with Steve Hill to see if he wants to maintain membership on the committee. Our next meeting will be Thursday, June 2nd at 8:30 at the airport, and we adjourned at 10 a.m.
Any questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill. Custer Fall River Regional Waste Management, Larry?
I'll have my notes at the next council meeting for that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Deborah's not here for Historic Preservation. Evans Plunge Advisory, Linda?
Okay, before I get into the minutes of the Evans Plunge, I've been asked to inform people that the governor has signed an executive proclamation to announce that May 2022 has Water Safety Month. So then we get into our meeting. We met May 12th at 2022 at noon. Chairperson Linda Varvel was present, as well as Chris Hansen, Kathy Wren, Okoye Zimiga, Troy Lurs, Tom Nas, Allison Ritterbusch, Mara Smith, Barry McNair, and absent was, I forgot her name, Maris was absent. Update on the collaboration of training. Hot Springs High School training and classes per Troy. They've called this the Lifetime Sports Activities are on schedule for the fall term. These classes will be limited to the junior and senior classes, and enrollment may need to be capped. The school needs to know where the city stands on this and need to discuss an insurance issue. Going forward, our contact person will be Ben Kramer. What the summer looks like at the Evans Plunge per Chris. We will not be opening on Tuesdays through the summer. We will try to open the outdoor pool, but that depends on staffing. We are currently short 9 lifeguards and 4 front desk people. During the summer rec swimming, we will be open briefly on Tuesday mornings for swim lessons only for the 3 weeks of one session. Rec swim lessons per Kathy begin May 31st. Swim lessons will take place for 11 days over a 3-week period, Monday through Thursday. A review of monthly saves and an update on the new water exercise classes per Okoye. We had 1 save coming off the big water slide with no serious issues. The individual kind of got themselves lost when they got dumped into the water at the bottom of the slide. The VA exercise classes take part on Thursdays at 10 a.m. with 10 people enrolled. We hope to increase attendance in the future. We are conducting our annual youth-only buy two, get one free punch cards. We discussed changing the outdoor pool to a splash pad open Memorial Day to mid-August. During the season, the outdoor pool is also used for lifeguard training due to the depth of the pool, making it more feasible than using the indoor pool, plus the lower walls make for an easier exit from any side. Also, it was thought to keep the outdoor pool, but to expand the area out towards the parking lot to allow for a splash pad. The next meeting will be June 9th, 2022 at noon at the Plunge.
Any questions for Linda?
Yeah, did I hear you right? You're going to use the outside pool for training for lifeguards?
That's what Okoye wants to keep the outdoor pool because she utilizes it currently for training for lifeguards, because she has one exercise where they throw a brick into the pool, and they have to dive in, retrieve the brick from the bottom of the pool, and then bring it up and come up over the side of the pool, which has lower sides on it than what the indoor pool has.
Okay, so
Okay.
certifications change, I guess.
It's
Because
a depth issue. They have to.
Yeah, it's a depth issue.
Well, that was the whole purpose of diving in there, was to make sure that your person could actually retrieve somebody from the bottom of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But if you're using a brick, I don't see how that's,
So very small people.
Yeah.
I guess so, 2-year-olds or something like that.
It's a heavy brick.
You would?
So it's a heavy brick?
I actually think you're right. I think they actually do use a block is what they use. I think.
Some sort of
Yeah,
she called it a brick. I don't know how big it is.
Concrete block is what I think it is. I don't remember exactly, but.
Something weight appropriate.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like 80 pounds or something.
Yeah. She didn't specify the size.
Are you available?
Do you want to be sitting at the bottom of the pool while they come and get you?
Do I have to hold a rock?
No, you just have to hold your breath.
Not a rock, a brick. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Parks Recreation, Larry?
The meeting started at 2 p.m. In attendance were Alderwoman Linda Barvell, Chris Katke, Barb Walter, Kelly Cape, Gerald Colligan, Alderwoman Deb Johnson, Diane Gross, Dwayne Stanley, and myself. And public comment was to move the linking fence project to Centennial Park. The Rotary will complete more work on covered shelter, needs steel and electricity, and they've been doing some work on it so far. So on rec update, packets for recreation can be found on city website. That's already been took care of, I believe. Bikes, skateboarders, skating blades, still a problem. Jeff, do you have any ideas working on gate to tennis courts? You can answer after we get done. On the parks update, the drinking fountain's in need of repairs, working on getting bathrooms up and running. The 2 guys are working park while road construction is going on, so please bear with the parks people as the city guys. Let's see here. One of the new business grills in Centennial Park. The recommendation is that to have a grill put at Brookside, not Centennial Park, near the handicap shelter. Unfunded priority list needs to be complete by July. Once again, you could explain that once we're done there, Jeff. Charter for Parks and Rec was introduced and approved by the committee. Batting cages, that was talked about earlier. Park fees, Stunningham Farms, vending fees were discussed, recommendations to bring to council. Meeting ended at 3:30 p.m. Next meeting is June 1st, 2 p.m. at Mueller Center.
Any questions for Larry?
I have one. Drinking fountains. Are we supposed to be using those?
Bart brought up that you had to go in and place some parts that had some rust on the drinking fountain.
Yeah, but should we be using them? I mean, you go to any place like the VA and stuff, and you can't use their drinking fountains because of COVID. So why do we got them in the parks?
That's a good question.
I haven't seen anything in town, unless I'm just not paying attention, but there aren't any signage, including in City Hall, really, where we have fountains here.
Just drink at your own risk.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it, but that's not, I haven't seen any COVID restriction the council put out on that.
Or the state.
Or the state.
There were some
I
park
guess we could
recommendations
throw a
from our
hose
insurer.
down there and they can just drink out of
There
it.
hasn't been at the
Water
airports
hose might
either.
work.
I
Just
vote
saying.
for personal responsibility every time.
Comparing ourselves to the VA, they're obviously a federal agency, and they are mandated by the president they're currently wearing masks, and no one else in the community wears masks. So if we're going to match ourselves on the VA, then we all should be wearing masks and not drinking out of fountains.
Well, it isn't just the VA. I've been to many places in Rapid and stuff, and they have their drinking fountains closed. It isn't just government.
But we can certainly look into it and see what's...
I guess we're not government either.
Well, we ain't as bad as the government.
Thank you, Larry.
Jeff, before we move on, I'd like to have Jeff elucidate on the 2 points I brought up.
2 points were what, tennis courts?
The unfunded priority list.
Okay, so.
Tennis courts.
Yeah, so let me ask, the first one is the tennis courts. We are working on the grant submission for Butler Park for next year. We couldn't get it, by the time they got it out, there was no time to get it together. All that's going to be included. We're doing well, what we hope will be about a $200,000 grant match with them, and that will take care of Butler Park for fencing and tennis courts and those kinds of things. In answer to your second question, this is more of a budget issue, but all of the departments are assembling formal unfunded prioritized CIP lists, and as well as the committees. We've asked some committees to do that. We'll try and consolidate that around budget time so that we actually have that wish list of $50 million that, we'll never get, but, so that we at least know. If you get a check in the mail tomorrow from Grandma, how would you spend it? So we'll know. That's what that is.
Thank you.
Anything else, Larry?
Larry?
What? Anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
When's your next meeting, Larry?
I told Misty.
June 1st.
Oh, okay.
Right? June 1st?
You can tell all of us.
Next meeting is June 1st, 2 p.m. at the Mueller Center.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Planning and zoning, Deborah's not here. Public safety, Bill, JR.
Public safety met Thursday, May 5th, 2022 at 2 p.m. here at the Mueller Center Conference Room. Attendees were Alderman Bill Lukens, Alderman J.R. Huddleston, Alderwoman Deborah Johnson, and Police Chief Jen Winscott. There were no members of the public present. We adopted the agenda, communications. There were no public members there. Update from the police. Chief Winscott provided an update using a new standardized reporting format. Included in the update were 529 total calls, 37 high-risk calls, which include unwanted subjects, assaults, domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and drunkenness. Current staffing is 6 of 8, with 1 at the academy and 1 of those being the SRO. Staffing, the challenges are lack of applicants and the family insurance offering. Efforts, June 6th, hire of a training coordinator. No vehicles are out of service. Minor repairs, such as turn signals and maintenance is being done. Vehicle inspection and maintenance generated by the city mechanic are being completed. Insurance company of the vehicle driven by a DUI subject that struck and damaged 3 PD vehicles in the PD parking lot has denied the claim. The issue has been turned over to the SDPAA and the state's attorney's office. As far as training, chief laser training and taser instructor training, taser instructor training, sex offender registry training completed at the Chiefs Conference. South Dakota Fusion Center training, all members have completed, no cost associated with searches. For the captain, Fusion Center training, all members have completed this training. It was at no cost and associated with searches. Use of force class, Armor's AR-15 course, and search and seizure class. Training for the SRO, adolescent mental health and school threat assessment. Plan training for the captain, advanced search and seizure, and interview and interrogation training. Drug interdiction training and rapid, attendees to be determined. Working on 16 Police Department Management System policies and procedures. Old business, 21-15, house number update, next steps. We'll be working with the scouts to generate a list of locations that need address numbers. Also, we'll be generating the necessary forms to document the survey and communicate with the owners and tenants. 21-23, fuels reduction grant, no update. 2203, traffic sign request. Discuss signage at School Street in Coldbrook and Hotbrook Canyon Road. No decision has been taken. There was no new business items. Adjournment was at 2:42 p.m. The next meeting is Thursday, June 2nd, 2 p.m., Mueller Civic Center Conference Room. All are invited.
Bill, anything you want to add?
We did get some updates. Since the meeting, of those 529 calls in April, 52 of those were considered high-risk calls as opposed to the 37 reported at the meeting.
Changed to 52? Okay.
Can I clarify something there, JR? The guidance that we received, we thought we received from the committee was to go ahead and put that stop sign at the corner of, at the intersection of Schoolhouse and Colebrook. So the crews were directed to do that. They haven't done it yet, so if that's not something that the committee wanted to do, let me know. My understanding was that wasn't approved. Okay.
We discussed that, whether or not it would be needed there.
Okay.
We discussed if it might be more appropriate on Cold Brook at Hot Brook Canyon Road, because the angle of the road there, it makes the traffic coming from the right down Hot Brook Canyon Road a little more difficult to.
Okay, I'll have the crews hold off until I get further guidance from the committee.
I'd say take a time out.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, I'll take it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Question. I don't know if this is, if you guys would know, but maybe Jeff would know. They are doing the maintenance records for all the police cars, right?
Yes. They're doing daily trip, they're doing, I say they're doing. They are supposed to be doing, not just police, but everybody.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be doing daily trip reports on each vehicle, identifying what needs to be done, if it's a fine, how far they went, basic information that we all have to put on the government vehicles.
And on that, are they putting, when they fill up with gas? What
Yes,
the
sir.
mileages?
Absolutely.
Okay, because all that's going to come in pretty handy when we start talking that budget time.
Yes, sir. You bet.
And I know the PD is also tracking the number of days a vehicle is out of service and for what reason, whether it's an accident or reliability or planned maintenance or whatever.
Yeah, all that should be recorded for all the vehicle, all city vehicles, actually, and equipment. But the thing is with the police department being, they are high-use vehicles, especially there. So,
Yeah, they are.
Thank you.
So if Bill, JR, Craig, and Dave could sit down for 10, 15 minutes and have a discussion about the stop signs out in that area. Through Public Works, they're concerned that there needs to be a stop sign at the playground, right at the bottom of the hill.
Yes.
So their concern is the kidlings running out into the street for a ball or whatever it may be. So if the four of you could get together and kick around your individual thoughts for the different stop signs there and come back with a combined recommendation. If it's 3 stop signs, that's okay too. But
I can tell you personally, because I've got my bus goes right through there, and there have been times where I have seen kids out there playing, and some of those bigger vehicles and sometimes smaller vehicles, they just they don't shoot around it, but they drive around that corner and then a little excessive speed.
It's a rolling stop. And my biggest concern is when the kids are playing and having a good time, they're not necessarily paying attention to traffic.
I think that's a good discussion we can have. We'll get together. All four.
Hasty due diligence.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Public Works, Dave, Craig?
You never asked if there's any more questions. I have a couple questions, but everybody else is talking, so I didn't have time to ask them.
All right, so Public Safety, are there any more questions?
Yes. 2. After the mass shootings on the news this morning, the president got on there and mentioned about all the money he's going to give away to the police departments for new cars, training, and all that stuff. So I think Hot Springs ought to look into that.
We will. Say that.
Number 2, I see we bought some parking tickets. Are we going to actually use them?
If we bought them, we will.
Okay, I just thought I'd ask because we bought a bunch of them in the bills today. Now, I'm done.
Okay.
No, you're not.
Oh, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
And I've got questions.
Tit for tat.
What'd he say?
He's got questions.
So good. May 10th at 1 o'clock. Mayor Bob, Craig, Dave, and Tracy met. Was you there, Jeff?
No, that one I think I
Oh, that's
missed, I'm
right.
not sure.
No, you come in late.
Yeah, he had more important things to do. New business, we talked about Boardwalk, and we need to look at the infrastructure on what the damage it did to the road before we can open it. Because it might have washed out the bedding and stuff on the water and sewer. And if we let vehicles drive up and down that street, it could break the pipes.
We'd have a big mess.
Yeah. City water rebates, the gentleman was supposed to come talk to us but didn't show up, so we didn't do anything about it. Parking limit signs on the Museum Hill, Public Works says no. In a nice way, we said no. 4/21/2022, DANR, restricted use site. Everything was acceptable.
Good.
Street and maintenance department, we didn't talk about anything because it's, they haven't been doing the trees. They're going to do it in the fall. And the drainage, they'll be getting to that here soon. When they have time. Code enforcement. Food truck. We've got the signs, but they're not up yet. I think Billy's gonna work on that.
They're trying to get to this week. It's within, like everything else, when they have time to get over there.
Code enforcement specialties. Scott and the person in the city gonna get together and he sent out another set of letters to the people that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And him and Scott's got to get together, from my understanding. Nuisance property has been sold and it's already being cleaned up.
What nuisance property?
I forgot what street it's on.
Garmont.
Okay.
Jamon.
Jamon.
Oh, Jamont, sorry.
That's okay.
Old business. And the contract, city snow removal, we're going back to the start and starting over, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Misty.
Summit Road,
Just kidding.
Scott's gonna get a price on the fence to put up. Community garden update, we didn't have one.
Yes.
You got a written one.
It was printed.
Yeah, it is a written one, so I forgot what's it.
Which brings to mind, I apologize, I was late for that meeting and I left early, so I actually was there, so.
Yeah, you were there.
Now I remember.
I said you were late.
Oh, okay, I had to think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. North Fall River Cleanup Project. I had a wise lady get a hold of me because we talked about murals on the wall underneath the suspended sidewalk. And she says, since so many people's upset about the cattails and turtles, we could paint it on the wall so they can see the cattails and the turtles.
Good idea.
I thought it was a good idea when she talked to me. Maybe not. The icy spot on the Vision, where the Vision sourced the eye doctor, Tracy said that the state might try to work that into the project.
Into the project, if they can get that far. They get not as far as depth into a city street.
Yeah.
Try to work it out.
Yeah. One more thing I want to bring up, because it seems like people, especially newcomers, if you're going to have chickens in town, you need to go to City Hall and register them. And you can only have 6 chickens. I know at Grandview, there's a lady up there that's got 10, 12 chickens. And she hasn't registered them, so she needs to get down and register them. I know the owner talked to her about that.
And no roosters, right?
No roosters. Our next meeting.
They'll come on their own.
Our next meeting's May 31st at 1 o'clock at the Bueller Center. I encourage everyone to come.
Can I come?
Sure. Dave, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Nope, he got it all.
So,
A little prompting.
anyone else have any questions?
I'd like to add a little bit unless somebody else has got something about the garden. As far as I know right now, they had registration a couple of days ago and that went pretty good. John is marking off the spot where they're going to put the water line into it. They've got the fencing around the area. They got poles driven into the ground. They've got quite a few boxes that have been made when the people came out to help out at that time. Oh, I'd like to read this here. Raised garden beds. 10 raised beds have been constructed. Trenching for water lines to be completed this week. Pipes, spigots have been donated. Meter pit installed. Soil. Topsoil and compost to be sourced. Natural fertilizer donated. Manure. Additional small trees have been cut down at front property. Compost container is being donated. Garden plot registration that was done there. It's for 5/14/21 from 9 o'clock to 12 and 5/15/21 from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Fences engaged. 26 to 40 fence posts installed. Remaining posts to be installed next weekend. Wire fencing for the sides and back has been donated, needing manpower to be installed. Fencing and posts for the front still to be acquired and installed. Gates are in the process of being sourced and or built. Okay, thank you, sir. No, thank you.
I got extra.
A couple things. Craig, you had rattled off a number that passed inspection or whatever.
Yes.
What is the actual location that the general public would recognize that number to be?
The Murph.
Yeah.
The landfill, the MRF?
Yeah, Murph.
Okay, so it was the annual inspection?
Yeah, it was.
I didn't recognize the number that you had.
2021 to
The annual
2022?
inspection was on the Murph.
I think it's
And they reviewed.
There were no numbers. I think he was just rattling, talking about the years, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
21, 22.
Okay, I apologize.
And you should.
The restricted use site is at our old MRF facility.
Right.
Yes.
So it was the annual inspection by DNR is what it was.
All right, and then Boardwalk Hill, there have been a number of calls about Boardwalk Hill and why isn't it open? As Craig was talking about, there was significant damage at the north upper end of Boardwalk Hill that the city will get taken care of, but Boardwalk Hill itself is a convenience for a lot of folks to get around town, but there's going to be some significant cost in getting that taken care of. Plus, the highway road reconstruction project right now needs to be a priority for the city staff as we have time to, work with them to get that taken care of. So Boardwalk Hill right now is closed indefinitely until we can figure out what the right solution what the right fit for getting that taken care of is. The public knows that through the winter months, it's closed most of the time anyway, but there has been some interest in getting it opened as soon as possible, and we just don't have a time when that's going to happen yet. So we put on the city website that it will be closed indefinitely until we can, again, figure the right solution for that. Southern Hills Golf Course, Jeff.
Yes, sir. A couple quick things. The new POS hardware is arriving this week. We are, well, I'm not going to give you a date, but we'll be installing everything over the next 10 days or so. Again, rounds are up still over 20%, as well as retail and snacks. Our RFP for the wall closes tomorrow, so we should know soon the price on that, at least the estimate. We'll have course marshals / beverage carts, same thing, starting on the 4th of June. And once we have the price on the wall, we'll reevaluate our cash position there and potentially submit to council a request to fund a real beverage cart instead of using an old cart. Kudos to PJ on the Sunday ballooning event. I gave you pictures of that Sunday. Bob, you were there. I think some of the other councilmen were there. Council folks were there. Awesome. I mean, that's kind of the reason we hired somebody like PJ to do stuff like that. So that was pretty awesome. And next meeting's TBD. They like to change it a lot because their schedules are weird. They had a meeting this evening at 6, which I did not attend. And that's it for golf, unless you have any questions.
Any questions for Jeff?
Nope, I'm good.
Is that balloon event, that's for this group that we're just being asked?
So,
or is that something separate?
No, well, yes and no. So this event is a fundraiser for the balloon organization. But it's also, we brought in 10 new members. I mean, it was people were coming and saying, I don't know, we had a golf course. Don't ask me, I don't know. But anyway, so it was a promotional event for the golf course. I guess they've done it there before. But this year we put the food and the music and kind of made it more of it. It was actually pretty cool. The one picture you've got there, which as a recreation guy, gets me completely flushed, is, seeing people play in the grass and rolling down the hill and, having a beer, not the kids, having a beer and, all that kind of stuff. So it was a very cool quality of life recreation event, I think.
Jeff?
Specifically, the fundraiser this time around is for the balloon community to finish the mural at the top of
Okay,
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's kind of what I was looking for. Okay.
Raising money to complete that.
You're right.
And Jeff, I'm just curious, I may be out of the loop, but this is the second time I've heard of a balloon thing going on at the golf course after the fact. I mean, what kind of advertising is going on?
Well, we had like 300 people there, Larry, so I don't know who, we had it out there advertised, I don't know.
Do you get the chamber weekly newsletter?
No, I don't.
That's where we depend on that a lot. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely out there, Facebook and that whole thing, and the balloon community promoted it from their end, so don't laugh. No.
Supposedly, they raised over $3,000.
Yeah, they did 3,000, yeah. And I will tell you that, not that, I won't give you, don't hold me to the exact amounts, but, we did over $2,000 in sales just on food and beverage out there. So that was a 2-hour, 2.5-hour event. That's a good turn, believe me. Dave, you know that. So anyway, any other questions?
Misty has an interesting look.
It's just when he does math, I get a little nervous.
That's why I don't use any numbers.
Math, which I don't quite get. So I was like waiting for something
It's
real
recreation math. I'm not going to give you exact numbers because I'll be wrong, and you'll tell me.
No. But before I move on, Jeff, you have often gone ahead and done your city administrator report.
Sure. Just a couple quick things. We're tracking our FY budgets closely because, as we all know, the cost of everything is significantly higher, and it is limiting our ability to carry out some of the most normal operations. So we're watching it closely and doing the best we can. Right now, we're pretty much overwhelmed with preparing the parks, and most specifically the Evergreen Cemetery for Memorial Day. So everything is kind of, not saying everything else is on hold, but that's our primary thing right now is mowing, of course. As you all know, we're starting the micropilings on the suspended sidewalk this week. 1 June, I use this information is out, I know, and I'm careful to say this, but 1 June is the tentative date for the short, meaning 4 to 5 day closure of Jennings Bridge during the road construction. So as of right now, that is the date. It may change tomorrow morning. I don't know. We'll see. But that is where we are right now. So that would be closed for a week, basically 5 or 6 days. I just changed that. It was 4 to 5 days the first time. See, I knew she didn't catch me. We're assembling information for submission to council, recommending the September auction, which we discussed. And we are now partnering with the school district and waiting for an answer back from the county if they want to partner with us on this. That's for excess equipment. And I will be out all of next week at the City Management Conference up in, forget where it's at, Spearfish. Thank you. So anyway, pending any questions?
I have a question.
I knew you did.
Is that whole intersection going to be closed or just the bridge?
Just the bridge, just the bridge. You'll still be able to go, well, I shouldn't say this. Bob, you might have to clarify. Well, because Jennings won't be done, so you'll still go straight through on River.
Aren't they closing the bridge to hook in the water line? Or why are they closing the bridge?
To hook in the water line,
So why would the intersection still be open?
because they're going to be able to have one-lane traffic with a stop sign on each side to get past the the tie-in.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you.
Text you all every day next week?
I'm sorry?
Text you every day?
Yeah, please, I'll be on my
Next
email.
week, you'll be-
Absolutely.
You'll be all right?
Absolutely, sure. I'd like to say no, but I will be.
So you're going to miss another Public Works meeting?
That's right. I planned it that way.
Yeah, you got some good
I
plans.
called Goshman, I said, hey, whatever you do, take it this week, because, you know.
Seems to be a trend, sir.
Misty,
It is. No, I'm looking forward to it.
you're up.
Because I gave the annual report at the last meeting, you have reports, financial reports through the end of April in front of you for this monthly finance officer report. A review of the profit and loss summary by fund at the end of April continues to report losses or red in several of our funds, I think all but 3. This trend's part of a normal fiscal cycle for the city. In May, the general fund will receive our first half of the 2021 pay 2022 property taxes from the county, which makes a significant impact on the year-to-date comparisons of revenues to expenditures, at least in the general fund. We'll also begin to see increasing revenues and sales tax dollars, which impact 101, 211, 212 as we enter into the busier tourist season, and increasing revenues at both the golf course and Evans Plunge. In April, we received the final report for our Workers' Compensation Fund 2021 payroll audited billing, which resulted in a refund of over $10,000. The workers' compensation premium paid totaled $46,708, so the refund is 21.67% of the premiums that we paid. These refunds are a result of actual payroll expenses related to non-working hours paid and include overtime, 0.5 of the overtime paid, call-out pay, call-back pay, inclement weather pay, sick leave, vacation leave, holiday, and administrative leave paid by the city. The report reflected $110,749 in overtime paid and $235,952 in other non-working hours paid. In total, $306,358 of adjustments, or 14.18% of total wages paid for the year, were adjusted for the premium calculations. I find the information in this audit powerful to show just how much of payroll is being paid out each year for non-working hours and how generous our city is in our benefits to employees. This is just another example of that. If you're interested in any more detail regarding the reporting, please ask. We went over it in our last admin finance meeting. The audit fieldwork was completed last week, and unless there's any unexpected delays, the 2021 audit report should be presented to the council at the June 20th meeting. As in years past, we plan to meet 1 hour before the regularly scheduled meeting that night to engage in a detailed review of the report with an auditor. They'll also provide an abbreviated review during the council meeting. We'll set this meeting during the first meeting in June, hopefully. I haven't got the word yet that they'll be ready by then. They do the field work and then they go back and do their reporting. So hopefully, barring any unplanned delays, we should be able to schedule it the first meeting in June. I like to have the reports available to you with your packet that you'll get the Thursday or Friday before, so you have the weekend to review it because it's a lot of information. Once the audit is complete, then there are steps after you've reviewed it and accepted it where we have to publish it to our website, send it out to DLA, DENR, various lenders, bond rating agencies, EMA, which is electronic, oh gosh, now I don't even, we have to do it for our Evans Plunge bonds. I can't remember what the acronym stands for, and other grant reporting. As a reminder to the public, those left at the meeting, May 23rd is the deadline for voter registration for the June 7th combined election. Absentee voting runs through the 6th of June. If a voter has questions or concerns, they can contact the auditor's office, 745-5130. We did some redistricting, so there may be some questions this year some voters may have, although they should have all received letters. At the first meeting in June, we'll schedule a special meeting. Right now, we have Friday, June 10th at 9 a.m. as the suggested date and time to be held at the Mueller Center to canvass our election results and declare the results by resolution. If you see a potential conflict or issue with that date and time, please let me know as soon as possible, and we'll try to arrange, because we only have a certain amount of time once the election is over to declare the results, and that's 10 days. The Municipal League will hold budget training on Wednesday, June 22nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Rapid City at the Rushmore Plaza Holiday Inn. This is a one-day training. It's a lot of information real fast, but I do believe each time you attend it, you pick up something different and you build on your knowledge and skills, and like all other trainings they offer, it's really valuable. Please let me know. Registration is due by June 9th, and I will do a combined registration for all of the city. And I added a note about how much or how little information and input is appropriate to share with each of you on any given subject. Melanie Wilson and I have spent some time together going over things. Bill Lukens often comes in, Larry Pratt comes in. So we talk about a lot of different things. And so if there's something that you're missing or interested in, if I don't know it, I will find you somebody who does. Please don't ever hesitate to ask. I'll always do my best to find the answers, but don't be too hard on me if I fail to share details to the extent you're looking for, because there's so many all the time. There's a lot going on in any given day, and I'm doing the best I can, but please don't hesitate to ask. I'm never too busy to answer your questions, and your interest in the subject matters that we're discussing is what keeps us making good decisions. So, as always, thanks for all you do to help the city move forward, and I do appreciate you. Thank you.
Any questions for Misty? All right. I want to talk a little bit about the Highway 385 road reconstruction project. Work has been ongoing since early March on the south end of the project and on Jennings Avenue. Some construction days have been lost due to weather, but progress is being made. Construction projects are dynamic. As circumstances change, so does the work in a particular area. The upcoming work along North River Street that will begin this week is an example of a change to the original schedule. The contractor for the suspended sidewalk has an opportunity to begin drilling and installing the micropiles, Jeff had talked about them, that will be a part of the foundation for the supports of the sidewalk this spring. The work will be in approximately 250-foot sections, starting at the Jennings Bridge and progressing north along River Street, ending a little south of the Minnetonka Bridge. Each section of this work is expected to take about 2 weeks. In total, the work is expected to take about 2 months. While the work progresses, parking spaces will be lost for that 2-week work period. By starting the installation of the micropiles this year, the contractor is getting a head start on a portion of the work that was scheduled for the spring of 2023, which is an advantage to the overall schedule of the reconstruction project. As spring weather improves, there will be less construction days lost to bad weather. Information about the road project can be found by going to hotspringsreconstruction.com. If you have questions, check out that website, or you're welcome to contact City Hall with your questions. Jeff had talked about the event that went on at the golf course last night with the balloons. You heard the folks, Tammy and Mike, talking about the Balloon Festival. This is something that's taking off, and it's It's really great to see everybody out at the golf course last night. It was a beautiful evening. Just watching these balloons, I encourage everyone to do it. And to whatever degree we can, this is certainly something that Hot Springs can make unique and make a destination as we grow and try to figure out who we're going to be in the future. So supporting this event, I think, is an opportunity that we should be taking advantage of. With that, Craig, I guess it's your time to shine.
Get her done, buddy.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any question, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Stayed. Motion passes.